like, man, I was disappointed. Really.
Man, okay. See, what's happening, y'all? Me and Montel behind the scenes talking because there's a whole lot going on, obviously, right? And trying to piece everything together. Had to run a show, but things are falling left and right in terms of subject matter and things of that. So what it do? Team no sleep. Don't worry about me. That's Montel Allen right over there. And he looking extra crispy with some new camera gear. So
Yeah, man, got the bags under the eyes and everything today. Boy,
well,
so they
you got to fix
yeah.
that. I can't help you with that. I can't help you. We
Yeah.
know that you're looking good tonight, and we appreciate you for being here. And the show is official. We got Senior in the building, so yes, sir. Um, all right, social impact of sport. However, and, this story actually revolves around a bit of sport as well as a national event. So we have to talk about this just because this is who we are anyway. So helicopter. Black Hawk helicopter, military helicopter, and a American Airlines flight last night collided at Reagan International in Virginia. No one survived from both vehicles. Right, total of about 63 or 64 casualties. There were was it 60 folks on the American Airlines plane, and then the 3 military personnel that were on the helicopter. I've been in and out of that airport a number of times. Me and my wife were just talking about that as well. I've flown in and out of Reagan a number of times. It is busy. There's a lot of traffic in that area, but this is really unfortunate, man. Of course, any tragedy is unfortunate, but this right here and how it relates not just to national news, how it relates to sports as well, is because much of the Team USA. Was it figure skating team or ice skating team? Because I saw Nancy Kerrigan chiming in as well, right? Because she's got some relations with them. But again, we had a whole squad that was out doing some practice and doing some training that was on that flight. It was a chartered flight for them. Uh, this is horrible. This is horrible news, man.
Yeah.
Trying to find
prayers go out to their families and friends. Very tragic.
Figure skaters, figure
Situation.
skaters.
Yeah, tragic situation, kind of unexplainable. I don't even want to go into the who's right or wrong in this situation. Just the fact that this is just a sad moment. It's really, really sad moment, man. You know, I, I was talking to a coworker today, and I was like, "Of a parent, how do you that news? If you got that news, like in this kind of, and especially in this kind of situation, I mean, obviously it was an accident.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure the Black Hawk was flying that close to the airport because it looked like they were just kind of taking off, or they hadn't really got all the way ascended yet. I'm not sure. I just kind of got the brush of the kind of the details, but that's just a sad moment, man. I don't get it. I mean, not that I don't get it, man. I just my prayers and I mourn, man. I really do mourn for those folks, man, because
That's the word, right? I mean, I think that's the word right there. The fact that normal people are mourning for this situation that has happened, but unfortunately, then we as a nation would typically look to leadership. And 47 gets on the microphone earlier this morning and starts just berating FAA, starts berating administrations that aren't even in the building anymore. Just starts talking madness, then starts talking madness about the military. You know, why don't do that, brother. Right, again, leadership is this national tragedy right here should lead, as opposed to pointing fingers and calling out other folks, especially without having information, without having any insight to what really went down. Now, again,
his behavior.
Now, so have you flown out of Reagan? Do you know that area in DC?
I've flown into Baltimore. I've never flown out of Ronald Reagan. But
Okay.
I've flown into Baltimore.
Yeah. So military helicopters all the time flying in and out of there, doing either reconnaissance, doing training, moving high value personnel back and forth, that kind of thing. And that was one of the missions that was going on with the helicopter. But there are processes in place. There are procedures in place. There are people standing by watching on all sides.
Yeah,
it's just
the one
unfortunate.
Thing that I did hear that those helicopters at a certain height or certain level, wherever they're at, they don't have radar. It's not the radar doesn't come on anymore. I don't know if that's due to because of military reasons, so nobody can detect where they're at or whatnot. But if they're a certain height or within a certain or certain depth, like below whatever the
Yeah.
radar thing, their radar is not on. They're flying basically on sight, sound, and all that stuff. That was one of the things I seen on the news last night. I don't know if that's true or not. I can't validate it. I've never flown in the Black Hawk helicopter, yet a helicopter, period. So, and at this point, I really don't care about that. I don't. It's a tragic accident that happened. That was whoever did it wasn't like a meant to be. It wasn't nothing deliberate. It was an accident, and we lost a lot of people's lives. And the fact that, like you said, number 47's behavior about the whole thing or his reaction to the whole thing, to me, man, it's just like
Inexcusable.
it's inexcusable, but it's not like it's not expected from someone like him. From him, he always does these things. It's always got to be about me, and I always got to make sure the focus is focused on me, no matter what the situation is. That's who people elected, right? So it's they have to deal with it. That's who he is. That's what he does. That's what he's been doing. He's done it ever since COVID. We saw big COVID. We saw it does Black Lives Matter, and now we're seeing it in tragic situations like this, where 60 some odd people lost their lives, unfortunately, and he's not showing any kind of emotion or grace towards those families and all that good stuff. I don't have a lot of respect for him,
Yeah.
but I mean, it's not my place to have respect for him, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't care about my
It's and I think it's hitting a little bit different just for me. A couple of reasons, kind of weird reasons. One, again, I've flown in and out of there a number of times. I'm jumping on a jet at 6 o'clock in the morning. Right, and so I'm flying. So again, kind of hits a little bit different when I start thinking about those types of things, and again, just being a remorseful person when something like this happens. I understand the military has to do their thing. I understand again, you got 60 some athletes on this flight, so several members
that represent our country.
that represent Team USA, right?
That represent our country. Yes.
Yeah. So let me read. So several members of the figure skating community were aboard the jet returning from a developmental camp in Wichita. U.S. Figure Skating said the Skating Club of Boston named 6 victims, including the coaches, were on that flight. So definitely want to give that out. It's definitely miscommunication by someone. Marvin is saying, and Marvin works in the aviation industry as well. So so he sees some things like this. He sees behind the scenes as well. So I'm sure folks just within his industry are talking about this and trying to piecemeal what's going on as well. 47 should wait for investigation outcome before he makes comments.
I don't. You don't have to do that. People die in an accident. How hard is that to be? How hard is that to mourn and be empathetic to that situation, right? How hard is that? You're the president of the United States.
Yeah.
We had a tragic accident that happened. This speech, we had a tragic accident that happened in Ronald Reagan Airport. Unfortunately, what happened, and my prayers go out to the families. How hard is that to say?
And leave it there, and then not go into berating folks that haven't been in office in 12 years and folks that you fired. Right again. So get your stuff straight, man. Get your stuff straight. Every aircraft is tracked. Yeah.
He just takes things. He takes things. Like I said, it always has to be about him. Very, very. What you call it? Is a misogynistic attitude. I think that's the right. Is that the right word? I believe.
We'll use that one. We'll use that one. That's a good one too. Yeah.
That's a good one. Yeah. So I mean, the guy's just. I don't know, man. I really don't know, and I really don't care. I really don't care what about his opinion or thing. I'll focus on self. I'm mourning my prayers for those families and the victims that happened in that crash. They're never gonna get over it. They're never gonna forget this situation. And hopefully it brings whatever correction that needs to be corrected within that aviation situation that happened. I'm not quite sure. I don't know what happened because I'm not knowledgeable in that thing. But I do know I feel for their families. That's what I do know. I know I pray for them. Yeah. I know I pray for the people that have to suffer that because that happened over a city. So those bodies are all over somewhere in the city, in that area. The people that they're
slowly trying to recover everyone out of the Potomac, out of the river, and they've had a little bit of success. But again, there's parts of infrastructure, there's parts of plane, so it's hard going trying to do that work as well. So we are
And
doing our
shout out to
thing.
those people that have to work. Shout
Yeah,
out to those people that have to work that situation because that's a tough situation to
yeah.
be in. I have to try to uncover and figure out the pieces and pull these things out and do all those things, man. And I like I said, I'm gonna just speak for me. I'm gonna speak for. I'm not gonna
Go ahead,
try to
man.
get in.
Go ahead, man. We getting into it.
No, no. I just speak for my thing. Like I said, man, I really do feel bad, and I pray for those people because, man, that's some news as a parent, as a friend, as a family member, as a cousin. You don't ever want to hear that news,
Mm.
ever.
And not even to that extent. I think about this. Okay, now I hate cutting you off. I didn't mean to cut you off, but just think about that again. When me and my family fly a lot, I used to joke we live 35,000 feet in the air.
Mhm.
When my kids are flying, when my wife is flying, I'm tracking the whole thing. I know where they are. I know I know everything that's jumping off. When them wheels hit the ground, group text goes out, landed here, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
Uh, whatever the case may be, and we waiting on pins and needles for that text. Hey, I
Mhm.
got here. Everything is cool. Whatever the case may be, but again, and then to not get that text. There was a story of a father who lost his wife and his son. His son was one of the Team USA skaters,
Mhm.
and this is the exact story that he was saying. He was waiting on that text because they were just getting ready to land, and he's waiting for that text. Never came. Then turned on the news and saw that a small aircraft had an accident at Reagan, and obviously he said his heart sunk because then he
Yeah, man.
finds out that his family was involved.
I mean,
So
can you? I mean, I think people don't like to put themselves in other people's shoes, but can you imagine being in that situation
no,
and
no.
no more wife and everything? That's the most horrific probably situation anybody can be in, right? The most gut wrenching situation someone can be in, and the fact that you're sitting here and you're mourning and you're trying to figure out and you're asking why you're talking to God and you're doing all these things, and this number 47 gets on the TV and has no empathy at all for what just happened to people that represent our country, to someone that represents our country as a military family or
Mm-hmm.
military that protects our country, and all you can say is you're mad at that. You berating the FFA or whatever, and
Mm-hmm.
the aviation department and all that stuff, without once saying the prayers go out to the family, not once saying that hey, we want to honor those people that were in that crash. We're not once saying I'm going to reach out to all those families. It's 60 of them, and I'm going to personally call them and give them my condolences as the president of the United States because this should have never happened.
Mm-hmm. Lead,
I don't
right?
get.
You know, we want that person sitting in that room to lead.
Yeah, I don't want, but I don't, man. I don't get that dude, man. I really don't. I don't understand because
Well,
that
keep
was
that.
me.
I
If
tell you
I'm,
what. I tell you what. Let's
yeah,
do this because so we wanted to do our part and throw condolences out to the family and everyone that's involved in this. And then we always talk about the domino effect, folks that are also around that are involved, and the folks that are thinking about this. There are some other issues that are happening around the social impact of sport that have to deal with 47
yes, mm-hmm.
that are happening today, and we want to get into those conversations. Mr. Stone, we see you, brother. Appreciate you, man. We bouncing back and forth from a number of streams, brother, but it's good to see you, man. We all know he is ignorant. All right, that's true. That's true, brother. Brother Stark talking. So we've talked. I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago. We talked about Sonoma State losing
Yeah,
funding, going bankrupt. Was it $29 million or something of that, right? And having to essentially
20
shut
plus
down,
million. Yeah,
shut down most of the school. A lot of the programs are going away because they just don't have the money. They're not having the funding and things of that. This DEI, anti DEI, and folks having a misconception about what DEI means. That's a whole nother 2 hours. We can have that conversation as well. But Martin University is a predominantly black university in Indiana. The governor of Indiana, Mike Braun, has just done his fiscal planning and his fiscal budgeting. He has decided not to fund this higher education institution because it's a predominantly black institution. That's the reason why. I'm not making that up. I'm not just being hyperbole. I'm telling you that's what it is. I'll show you. I'll send you guys a link. This is the story right here. The man said because of his anti DEI mindset, and he seems to think DEI is a bad word or is a bad acronym, and it means inferior people. I don't know what it means. Again, I'm not going to get in his head, but I'm telling you, but the governor for Indiana has decided to defund Martin University because it's full of black folks.
Hmm.
Help me to understand that.
Racist. What do you mean help you understand it? You know why?
Help
Racist.
me to understand that in 2025.
Racist. Racist. Indiana, home birth of the Ku Klux Klan. If I'm not mistaken, if we do our history, that's the birth state of the Ku Klux Klan. The fact that people, again, for all those years we've been telling people racism still exists, and they keep saying no, it doesn't. We're in 2020. We're in 2021. It doesn't exist. People don't believe like that anymore. They don't think that way anymore. Everybody's about everybody. No, they don't. The president doesn't feel that way, and neither does his governor, as you can see. And the only thing that's the equalizer to those things is education. If you're educated, you can compete for those jobs. If you're educated, it opens the door for you to have those opportunities. If you're educated, you're able to get involved in things that you normally wouldn't be involved in. He wants to cut off that mechanism to help people of color get educated so they don't have opportunities, so they can't get their foot in the door, so they can't do those jobs. It may not be racism when he has a hood on this thing and he's burning the cross in front of my house, but guess what? He's racist in the long way because he's blocking doors and blocking
Yes,
opportunities
sir.
for us to be able
It's no
to do what we
longer
need to do.
covert, right? It's no
No,
longer getting them hiding. It is now the sheets are off and out in public. And I'm glad you said what you said. I'm glad you expressed what you said because here we go right here. Quote, I won't mince words. It's racist. State Representative Gregory Porter, a Democrat, said in a statement. It's a racist move and he's highly disappointed by this move that the governor has decided in his 25 to 27, so 2 years in his budget to not
yeah,
fund this university.
which doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense to not fund any education.
Yes.
Yet alone now you're deliberately not funding a black university or HBCU just because you don't believe in DEI. You don't believe in diversity and inclusion. Man, me and you joke about it behind the camera, but I always be saying we're behind enemy lines. And now our children are getting ready to be set behind enemy lines because they are not going to get the same opportunity. This all goes inside, man. He just lifted it. He President 47 banned financial aid.
He did. Yes, he did.
For what?
Having this
For 7 days.
conversation right now in my house because my children are concerned, are
Yes.
anxious about this, right? So we're having
Well, he just
this
lifted the ban.
conversation
He
right
lifted
now.
the ban last night because he got so much criticism. But the bottom line, that money helps people of color and underprivileged get an opportunity to get an education. And he's fully prepared to gut that whole program. The only reason why he hasn't because he caught so much slack from it. So just please believe it's gonna come up again in a different way, different format,
It's not
different
even
way.
been 2 weeks.
It ain't been
Right?
2 weeks to do this cut.
It ain't even been 2 weeks.
So it doesn't surprise me that this is happening, and it's not gonna surprise me if we don't see more of these things. It's disappointing. See, this is the part that disappoints me. It's disappointing that those other high profile podcasts and all those high profile streamers and those other
Say
high
it.
profile figures in the news media don't put shine on this and don't say what it is. Don't talk about exactly what it is.
Yes.
Like this dude is taken away. Like, and this is crazy. Shannon Sharp. I always pick on Shannon Sharp because I like him as a commentator. But you went from an HBCU. That was your opportunity. You went to Savannah State. Now, why would you shed some light on this kind of situation right here? As articulate as that brother is everything he's got going on. He's one of the hottest sports media figures in the industry. Why won't you shed some light on this and talk about it? I don't want to hear about why Cat Williams doesn't like Earthquake. That's cool for entertainment purposes, but at least in the beginning of your segment or at the end of your segment, let's shed some light on some education, man, because you have a powerful voice to be able to uplift this and at least bring awareness. Can't say you're going to change it, but you can at least bring some awareness like we do.
I will say this, that, and shouts out to our community, because I didn't even send you this string of conversation. A couple of folks in the community left some comments on our last stream and kind of called me out for being a little more PC than anything. They said, Montel, keep it 100. Why is James being so politically correct? And I said, you know what? Okay. We got sponsors, we got funding, we trying to keep that. But you know what? You called me out on this. We gonna be 100. We're gonna keep it a buck from now on. So the fact that, again, we're and again, since we're bringing up these real challenging conversations and discussions, we got to keep it real. So no one's beating around the bush anymore. And I appreciate the community member who called me out on that. I had a one-on-one with him, but you're right. No one else is talking about this.
Nah,
Because it's not flashy, it's not sexy, it's controversial.
It's not sexy. It's not sexy, and it's truthful.
Yeah.
Another person, Kevin Hart. You have all these media outlets, and I know you got to protect your back to a certain point. But why aren't you bringing light to some story like this? Just as me and you are two men that work a 9 to 5 can pull up this kind of stories. They got a team of people that pull up topics and everything for them to discuss. You mean to tell me you can't figure out to discuss this, how it affects you? And I'll call Shannon Sharp out directly because he comes from HBCU. He knows how hard it is just to get HBCUs funding, just for them to be able to survive because of the lack of support. And the fact of the matter that a governor of a state is not going to give them any money to allow them to operate and fund. So that means you're just going to say, however many black kids are in that thing, you have to figure something else out because eventually the school can't operate without a budget. They can only do so much. So what are we really doing, man? Like, for real. And I'm not telling you to change it, but bring some awareness to it.
Mm-hmm.
That somebody can shed some light on this dude and make a change so when the next time he gets elected, next time he won't be elected.
And need to have that discussion. So shouts out to, I think this is John here, right? And he's at, and I'm not sure if you're in Indiana or not. I know we have mutual friends that in Indiana, but I like the fact, he's asking the question and then he said, now, you know what, I'm gonna go do some research on this. That's the thing right there. Folks need to educate themselves and do the research and then ask those questions of our, again, quote unquote leaders in terms of something like this and why it is happening or why it isn't happening. Appreciate you for being here, brother.
Yeah, and all the cats from Indiana. Mike Epps always does big things in the state of Indiana because it's where he's from, and his family does a lot for them. And any of those other superstars that are from the state of Indiana. But I just hope, man, somebody can shed some light on this, man, to shed some light on how evil this is of this man to be able to do that. It's funny. Remember they used to say children are the future? No, it's just their children want to be the future. They don't want our children to be the future. They just want their children to be the future. That's what this tells me.
This is sad. Okay. My man's in Illinois. Okay. Shout out to the Windy City. State funding.
Shout out to Gary, Indiana too. I love Gary, Indiana.
What you talking about? Over there with the Jacksons? You fly okay.
Huh?
Jackson 5 country.
Nah, I ain't talking about Jackson 5. I was like Gary, Indiana, man. Gary, Indiana got some real folks out there.
Yeah.
I like it out there.
So let's see. The state funding was handy for Martin while it lasted. The budget isn't final. Debate will stretch through April when lawmakers must pass a final version. But again, what's happening is this isn't bubbling up to the top of the news cycle. This is one of those things that, unfortunately, again, if, like you're saying, some of the larger outlets don't talk about it, we won't have the discussion. And it'll just go away. And then and then 3 months down the road, we'll be talking not just about Sonoma State, we'll be talking about Martin University.
Well, the thing is, the funny part, you just scroll down that story. Look how big that story is. It's not even that long. Very little.
It's more advertising in here, right? It's really not much to it.
So even the person that wrote the story wrote it as a short synopsis of what happened in the conversation and maybe a little bit brief of the outtakes of what's going to happen and gave us the headline. And I don't care, this is what they'll try to do. Oh, the enrollment's low. This and this and that. He'll use every excuse besides the real excuse, which he admitted he doesn't believe in DEI, so he's not funding it. Period. He doesn't support funding it. Take that as heed of his word. All the other stuff will be fluff.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he believes. You know, it would be funny to me. This would be a funny scenario if the University of Indiana was mostly black. I wonder if he would cut down the Hoosiers. I wonder if he would stop funding the Hoosiers. Doubt it. You know,
Man,
because
you
that's so much support.
yeah,
But
you
if he's a true man of his word, he would, right? He would cut that. He would say, "No, I'm not funding. I'm not funding." So he's picking and choosing and strategically targeting certain places and certain schools. And Martin is the first one. And the crazy part it, I bet you he has a ton of support.
yes. Yes.
That's the sad part. That is the sad part.
That's the sad and that's the unfortunate part. Okay. Again, so let's keep that same energy. All right. So we started with the tragic story of what's going on right now we're at Reagan Airport and the situation there. Talking about Martin University, the governor falling in line with 47 and kind of anti-DEI types of mentality, not funding university. Let's bring it back to sports.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of us football fans, I don't even gonna say that. So a lot of us that follow the NFL are familiar with a particular rule called the Rooney Rule. The Rooney Rule was put in place for a specific reason to ensure that every offensive side of a team interviewed someone that looks like the United States, right? So to make sure that everyone had an opportunity to at least be interviewed. It didn't say give them the job. It says go talk to a woman, go talk to somebody from Mexican heritage, go talk to an African American, go just talk to somebody else and see if they can do the X's and O's, if they can read a defense, if they can read an offense, if they can command a quarterback, right? If they can at least do the job, have a conversation with them. That's the premise of the Rooney Rule. Behind closed doors right now, we got coaches talking about we done with that. So they pressing on Roger Goodell right now and saying, listen, we done with the Rooney Rule. We don't want to do this anymore. We just want to keep bringing in our folks. We don't want to go through the extra hoops of going and interviewing Montel. We're not going to give him the job anyway. So, you know, why bring him in for the interview? Why fly him out? Why try to feed him? Why do all those things? Your thoughts on this? Because you didn't know about this until I just told you about this a few minutes ago. The fact that this is bubbling up in terms of a conversation now.
Again, it reminds me of the Gruden and the old good old boys club, right? The good old boys, man. So not only we're good enough to slave for you and entertain for you, but we're not good enough for us to be wanting to be able to run the show. You know, we already know the NFL. We have no black owners, 0. We have one Indian owner, which is of Jacksonville. I believe is Indian descent.
Yes.
And the rest are the other ones are Caucasian.
Yeah.
So that's the owners, and if the owners support the coaches, again, there's 28 teams in the NFL. I believe there's only 5 black head coaches.
So you even going head coaches? I'm okay. Yeah. So head coaches. I'm just talking about somebody on staff. But you're right. Head coaches. You're right.
5 black head coaches, and out of those 5 black head coaches, which a lot of them are doing fairly well, but then this league is still predominantly African American. And if you want to count everybody people of color, the league is about over 75% people of color. So we can entertain, we can play for you.
You wouldn't have a Super Bowl in another week without Mahomes and Hurt and Barkley.
Saquon Barkley.
You'll have Kelsey there. Okay, there's one play, right? But right, you're right. We can go out there and run for you.
That's 4 people, right? We represent 75%. 3 African Americans or 3 people of color and 1 Caucasian.
Yep.
The league is 75% of people of color. So again, we can entertain you. We can, just like the good old days, we can shook and jive for you and dance and all that stuff. But we can't be behind the scenes and run the show. It's coonery, man. It's coonery. And the fact that somebody in coaches will bring that up, say we're tired of it. What are you tired of? It's still a nepotism league. It's still a good old boys club. It's still the same thing. You still hire your friends. So you're tired of the interview process? Is that what you're telling me you're tired of? You tired of interviewing them? That makes no sense to me. And if the NFL gets rid of DUI, it's just like we were back in college time. It is what it is. We know they're racist and we know they don't care.
Now, so the interesting part about this, and so Marvin, yeah, I believe that Magic does have a minority ownership in the you still call it the
No, he's
Redskins.
very minority ownership.
Yeah, I'm still
In
calling them the
Washington.
Redskins too. That my dad was over here. We was watching the game. We said, Commanders. No, we old school. We gonna call them the Redskins.
Yeah, yeah.
The interesting thing about this though is that is coaches that have come that are saying this. No one's been named,
But
but it's
coaches only
coaches.
say that
But
with
you
the supportive
know,
ownership, though.
was that?
Coaches only say that on the supportive ownership.
Okay, you can put it that way, but as well. But I'm saying, the folks that are on the peers on that same level as the coaches right now that are saying, man, you going out there and you're talking to all these other folks when you know my guy, and I'm just gonna say because I know he just got a job, Vrabel, give him the job as opposed to going back and talking to Danny Green or Tony Dungy. And I only mention them because they are the reasons why we got the Rooney Rule in the first place. Two coaches that had awesome seasons and then they got fired. Don't make sense. All right.
Well, I mean, okay, are we talking about qualifications for the job, or are we talking about you just want to hire your friend? That's what we're talking about, which is eventually nepotism, right? You hire who close to you not. And I have no problem with that. I have a problem with you saying you don't want to do the interview process, and which is the Rooney Rule. It gives them an opportunity to get their foot in the door and interview for them to see if they're charismatic. Are they able to run your team? Are they able to do the things you want them to do? Are you able to be successful and all that stuff?
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. People of color got to jump through so many hoops to get those opportunities where somebody like Mike McCarthy is going to get hired somewhere else. He's got fired for being
He's not
not a
worried
very
about
good
anything.
coach in Dallas.
Yeah, he's not worried about anything.
He's not worried about getting another job.
I love Pete Carroll. I love Pete Carroll.
Yeah.
I do. But listen, Pete Carroll, is he the right person? I'm not talking shade about him or anything, but Pete Carroll, 95 years old, but he's still a dope dude. But
I love Pete Carroll. I love his attitude. Pete Carroll's
yeah.
always been a person. He's actually the person that speaks up about DEI,
Yes.
diversity,
Yeah.
and he's a supporter of the Rooney.
Yeah. Oh Lord, might see that 3-letter acronym. I'm about to say you over there talking about them 3-letter acronyms. Your phone got cut off there.
Yeah.
DEI, FBI coming to the house. Lord have mercy. This is always what happens, folks, when we start talking about controversial items.
It just makes me mad that you're going to cut off the opportunity for them to interview.
Yeah.
Right, like the interview, they help them go through the process. Whether they get the job or not, it prepares them for the next time they interview the better, so they might get that job.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So it's crazy that the coaches they're saying the coaches are tired of it. Like who's in a job that's undeserving? Because we can talk about a bunch throughout history of Caucasian coaches that didn't deserve the job and they got the job. So now that some African Americans are maybe not as qualified and they get the job and they're not as successful, now all of a sudden we're tired of dealing with them. It must be nice to be in that situation to say that. Because I can imagine what if black coaches were like, oh, we tired of dealing with white coaches. We don't want to deal with them no more. The reason why we can't do that because we're not in a position of power. We're not in a position of minority. We're not in a position of anything. And maybe they're trying to make sure that doesn't happen. I don't know. But the fact that you said that you're tired of it, of the process, man, that just shows you how good old boys the club is.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna say I say, and I'll be like, I think this is perfect. I think a lot of those coaches are racist. They work with black people. They work with work with a diverse staff because they have to, not because they want to. And don't take it for anything. I played football. I didn't make it to the NFL, but trust me, there are commodities. Them just your horses. Because one horse goes down, guess what? I'm gonna bring another one in. They don't care. Not one head football coach. They may build a relationship, but they don't care about other football players. None of the Cincinnati coaches give a care about Ocho Cinco. As great as he was for the team, they can care less. Because guess what? We got another one.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll run you to the ground as much as they can. And their justification is we'll throw money at you in order for us to do all this. So the NFL just happens to be thoroughbreds. And what happens when a thoroughbred when he gets hurt or he gets a broken leg?
Put it down. Right? Put it down.
and you bring in another one. Again, I'll go back to the other thing. I think it's funny that we can entertain you, we can work for you at a lower level, but we're not qualified or we're not even deserving of the opportunity to be able to run the team. Not own it, run it.
We
And
just
basically,
want to sit at the table, right? I mean,
and all coaches is a manager. Let's be real. All of this is a manager position.
Right.
It's like senior management at your company.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't deserve the opportunity to become senior management.
That's crazy.
We could be managers, we could be coordinators, we could be position coaches, we could be those silo managers, but we don't have the opportunity to become a senior manager. What? I don't. That part that doesn't resonate with me, man. I hope it doesn't go through. I hope the black coaches that are in the league are really fighting against that. But whatever coach or group of coaches that brought that to the table and said they're tired of it, they should be investigated.
I'm gonna be interested to see how Gruden.
And wait, did they say who said it?
Not Gruden.
Did they say who said it?
No,
did
they didn't. No,
exactly.
It's let's see. For the minute, no, didn't say who was it actually said it. Just some behind the scenes.
So why are you hiding behind your words?
Yeah, an unnamed NFL coach. Yeah, an unnamed football coach.
Why they hide behind their words? Like why you? If you're gonna say it, speak it. Like say it. I'm not for the Rooney Rule. I'm not for DEI. That's fine. I know where I stand with you. But why it's got to be an anonymous tip, or why it's got to be a source? A coach said that. Like, be a freaking man, dog.
Yeah.
Say, speak your piece.
Yeah, and that's where I was going with this, because I think Gruden has black folks in his family, right? Because his nephew went to Jackson State. Was there when Deshaun was there? No, so it's going to be real interesting to see how Gruden responds to this at.
Well, he's not a coach. Is he a coach?
At owners' meeting.
I think he got another job.
It's going to be real interesting for me to see after the season at owners' meetings when they go off to Florida, when they go off to Hawaii, wherever they go, when all the owners get in the room, he's in there talking to them because they are his bosses, how this gets approached. And then if he come out and he says something, or he agrees to something that's not right, half-baked, how does he then go back and talk to his family and say, this is the decision that I am? Because he's the one that, he's the one that gets all the praise and the blame. He's the face of it. No one's looking at Jones. No one's looking at Rooney. No one's looking at all the other folks. They looking at Gruden. They're saying, you are the commissioner, so all the rules.
You mean Goodell?
You know what I'm saying? So
you mean Goodell? Or do you talking about Goodell?
Yeah. Why do I keep saying? Listen. Yes, Goodell. Yeah. Roger Goodell. My goodness. Yeah. Why do I got Gruden on my mind?
Well, because I said Gruden was the head of the Good Old Boys Club back in the day. So but Goodell, Goodell's a public figure. He's the figure of the NFL. Like the owners pay him to do what he does. So he's gonna support whichever way.
Yeah.
And he's gonna go whether right, wrong, or indifferent. I don't think he really has a say in it. He has a title of being a commissioner, but he doesn't have any say because the owners have to vote on it. What goes on? So he's just a figurehead. If we're gonna keep it all the way 100, he's the figurehead for the NFL. And great job, right? It's a great job, great gig to have. I'm not mad at him.
To be a fly on the wall and during that meeting when that comes up on the agenda, and then you got to go back and talk to your family back in Jackson.
Not talk to your family. First you got to go address the media and tell them what they come up with, and then go back and talk to your family. Those decisions may not be personal, maybe his personal feelings, but it's his job to report it the way the owners want it to be displayed. So I don't think if that goes through, I don't think he's gonna have a problem with his family. This is my job, this is what I do, and this is what those other 32 guys decided to do. Majority rule.
Okay. We're gonna see. We keep tabs. We have running tabs on a lot of things. We're gonna keep a tab on this. If Goodell ends up bending over both ways, we'll see. In the trading over there, he comes. My man ended over there, so he'll take Tom Brady. What's up?
He did it with Colin Kaepernick. He bent both ways. He's just he gonna roll with the punches, whatever they are.
Roll with the punches, whatever they are. Good Lord have mercy. And this is tough night, man. We having hard conversations. All right. Hard conversation. A lot of stuff going on right there. So there you see right there. So you see one person sitting in that room, sitting at that desk in office, got all these things happening because of the stroke of a pen. I didn't vote for him.
And what's crazy, a lot of people think it's the right thing. A lot of people think that's the right thing. He did the right thing. I don't. Cutting off anybody's opportunity is not the right thing.
That's not the right thing to do. Yeah.
No.
That's not
You
the
can
right thing.
readjust it, you can refine it, you can change it, but cutting off somebody's opportunity is never the right thing. It's never the right thing. So the fact that this man has cut off millions of people's opportunities, whether it be opportunities to break into the workforce. And by the way, as far as I'm concerned, screw you, McDonald's. They got away DEI, and there was another big company that screw them too. They got rid of it.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
We knew all of the Walton family stuff. Somebody was asking where Sharpton was. I think that was Marvin. They did a walk in to Costco because Costco says we sticking with our DEI initiatives. It was McDonald's. It was Target. That was the other one.
Yeah, man.
Man, that's hard for me too because I got a lot of like monthly subscriptions I had at Target. I had to cut them loose after. So
I haven't cut them loose yet. We still got them, but I mean, just screw them, man. I mean, screw the. I should say screw management, right? Screw management for getting rid of that. And the fact of the matter, McDonald's and Target, a bunch of people of color shop at your store.
Right.
A bunch of people that work. I know at least
the front lines
in actual stores are people of color. So the fact of the matter, you cutting off DI rules, it doesn't apply to those lower levels. It applies when you get into management and into the corporate offices. That's what they mean by it. Same thing with McDonald's. They ain't talking about the guys that's working at the fries. They ain't worried about him.
They ain't worried about that because they don't want to do that job anyway.
They talk about in corporate. In corporate, the structure is we don't plan a DEI. So you black woman, no matter how qualified you are, no matter what you did, we don't need to give you an opportunity. You Latino male, no matter how qualified you are and whatever you did, and as much experience as you have, and even though you might be the perfect job for the job, we do not have to give you an opportunity at all. And that would be different if we had other reams of revenues to kind of go into. But the ideology is to bring in diversity and inclusion because one, it sparks thought, it sparks creativity, it gives you streamlined, it gives you accessibility to other people, and it gives you a different lens to look through when you're targeting your audience. Why wouldn't you do why? And now you're going to cut that whole thing off. It's sad, man. Sad day. Sad day.
Preach, brother. I'll let that marinate right quick. It was quiet. Yeah, it's a crazy world. It's a crazy world. All right, I'll tell you what. Let's keep it moving. Let's keep it moving. Because again, we can go hours, we can go days just talking about these situations and can go down different paths. I see a gang of folks that are watching. Hopefully, folks aren't getting mad and falling off. I see a lot. But if you got questions, if you got comments, feed them to us. We are here to engage and we are here to interact. I did just hear my clock go off, so someone either like what we're doing or we got some more subscribers. So we're getting positivity somewhere, I guess, because again we're keeping it 100. Yeah. Bleaching the industry.
Yeah, I'm sure people disagree with me, and I get it. I mean that's through their lens in their life, right? Through my life, DEI is very, very, very important.
But at least we're brave enough, at least we're confident enough to have the conversation. I would love to sit at the table with someone and have the conversation, as opposed to again just being on a keyboard or talking amongst myself. I want us to all try to get better. I want to have a conversation with folks that I disagree.
To my question to people that are naysayers about DEI, answer me what's wrong with DEI. What's the problem? If the person you're not gonna bring somebody in that's not qualified. Companies don't do that no more. They're not hiring Billy Bob off the street and just give him a job because of the color of his skin. You have to meet certain qualifications to get yourself in the door. And if you happen to be a person of color, why not give that person an opportunity? That part that I don't know why you would say I'm going to eliminate that. That doesn't make any sense to me. That's it, man. I really don't.
You saying you can't just show up no more and get the job. You actually got to know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you got to know what you're talking about. Have some skill set to be able to go along with it. Be able to do the job. Now maybe I do know that some certain companies were like, we got to meet a quota to be able to bring people in. We want to do those things. We want to do all these different things. Again, there's nothing wrong with that because we have quotas and want to do certain things about everything else.
Mm-hmm.
So why won't you do it with people? You have in sales, you have a quota, right? You have a quota.
Mm-hmm.
So what's happening? I want a quota of diversity workforce. I don't. What's wrong with that quota? What's wrong with making that work? In marketing, you have a quota. In shipping and receiving, you have a quota you have to meet. You have to get so many packages out and in. So why not having? Why not? What's the problem with having a quota with creating a diverse workforce? I don't make the math is not mathing.
Math ain't math. Well, the math may be kind of what Marvin just said right here. Someone in someone's family got beat out of a job because of some program, and
Because they gave somebody an opportunity to interview.
Because they gave somebody else an opportunity who equally qualified, probably didn't need all the money, right? Didn't need 7 figures, only needed 6 figures. Still was qualified, but again, that may be, and again, we're reading into it, we're speculating, but that's what happened. That right, what all this came from, but we're not going to pontificate. I don't know what that word means. It just sounded good just now.
I never heard that one, but that's a good word though.
Well, I'm out here throwing some words. Let me ask you this. Y'all see it. Y'all saw it going across the screen there too. We had a conversation. We moving on to another subject. We moving on because again, there's a lot of stuff that's jumping off in the news today. Y'all saw it going across the screen a few minutes ago, but we've talked about one individual who has gone through this particular situation. Now we got somebody else going through this. Baltimore Ravens are no longer playing. They done. They on their way to Cancun. Everyone except for Justin Tucker. Justin Tucker, just like our dude Deshaun Jackson, is now being accused of getting too handsy, getting too touchy, getting too friendly in the masseuse chair. Is it? I think it's a chair. I don't know. I don't like massages. So table, is that what it is? Okay. So right, yeah. being accused now of systemic over a few years of inappropriate sexual behavior with massage therapists. What we gonna do? He's saying, obviously, he's saying the same thing as Deshaun. No, man, I don't know what y'all talking about. This is not true. I didn't do nothing. I'm not touching folks. I'm just in there being professional. Woo woo, all that.
Again, where there's smoke, where there's fire, and I think again, it's his story, it's her story, and it's the truth, right? Out of those situations. So this has been going on supposedly for a couple of years. If a person sexually assaulted
2012 to 2016.
So if a person appropriately touched you in 2012, why are you waiting all the way to 2025 to say all of a sudden now he's doing something wrong with me? You know what I'm saying I'm tired of people saying, oh, they were traumatized, they finally got the courage to come out. Okay, well, it's gonna be what now, 13 years?
Mm-hmm. Right? Is there a statute of limitations? Yeah, right.
13 years, so it's just not, I don't know if she asked for money or whatever she asked for, or whoever these people asked for, but now it's been 13 years, and all of a sudden, it's this big conspiracy and crime. I'm not saying it didn't happen, but I don't understand why you ain't saying it 13, why did you say it 13 years ago? Why didn't you say it 11 years ago? Why didn't you say it 10 years ago? Why didn't you say it 5 years ago? So why the iron is still hot, people can investigate and figure out what's going on.
Yeah, while people's memories...
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say, while people's memories are still clear about it, and there's no hearsay, there's no accusation. We got film, right? Or whatever the case may be, because everyone's got cameras and everybody's got film. It's just, you're right. Why wait all this time?
13 years. Yeah. And what makes me believe, even though you're massaging him, that you were flirtatious with him as well.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, professional football player. Assuming he's got a, nice physique, right? And you're rubbing all over his body and talking to him in whatever manner and listening to music and got candles and this stuff going on. In what situation did you saying you never ever in one situation ever flirted with him? Or maybe not flirted with him? Or maybe you did? I don't know. But I'm saying it's very curious that now all of a sudden we're coming 13 years and now you want to slander the man's name and bring accusations against him when you could have did it a long time ago. When you could say, you know what, he really did appropriately touch me. He grabbed me. He groped me. He did all these things, blah, blah, blah. I wasn't feeling it and I told him no. Well, I don't know what you did 13 years ago. I can't remember what I did yesterday.
Right. You know what I mean? I don't know what I did this morning. Right? Yeah. So how am I going to be crystal clear with this?
Exactly. And your memory is that sharp that you can remember exactly what happened 13 years ago, detail by detail. And it took you, I'm sorry, something needs to be done. It shouldn't be taking people this long when situations like this happen. You shouldn't get the privilege to do this 13 years later. You shouldn't have the privilege. It needs to be something that's done pretty much immediately, or not immediately, at least somewhere within a statute of limitations to say, hey, this is what happened to me. I want to bring it to the forefront. Because to me, I'm going to be honest with me, the opticals, it looks like some money grab.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be real. It just looks like a money grab. I don't know the woman. I don't have any per se. And I know bad. And things like this make it bad for when it does really happen.
Yes. Yeah.
Because it's hard to kind of decipher what's real and what's not.
Who's crying? Right. Who's crying wolf? Right. And again, not looking down on either one of the sides, but just, man, again, 13 years, that's a long time.
Yeah. And I do apologize. People feel like I'm belittling the situations when it do happen to people. I'm not. I don't mean to do that. I'm just saying, looking at it from the outside in, from this lens, from this story, it looks like it's the money grab. And like I said, I can't believe you have a vivid memory from 13 years ago in situations that happened in 2012 to 2016. So you can encounter all the situations where he did this wrong. How does it say that you didn't flirt with him? Because you only going to tell the story from your side, your point of view. You're going to tell the story to make it favor you. You're never going to tell the story where it doesn't favor you.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. This looks like a money grab to me, man.
We'll see. I mean, Tucker's saying all the right things. And again, I'm Switzerland on this, right? I don't know, because again, I'm third person removed. But he said, I support a process that allows claims to be properly investigated. But for the sake of myself and my family, I cannot allow these false claims to go unchallenged.
Good for him.
13 years have passed. I don't have those records. I don't have those photos. I don't have those receipts.
Who knows?
Right? I don't have that same wallet that I use. I don't have that same receipt that I used when I went in there. Was I there or was I not there? I don't know. This is a long time. So
and if I was there, you let it happen for 4 years without saying anything?
Come on. Just saying.
So you let me abuse you for 4 years, and then you waited again another umpteenth years now to tell your story about it. I just don't. I'm sorry, man. I'm not. And it didn't say rape. It said grabbed you and groped you and all that stuff. So you were, so maybe you were assaulted in some way, or you were unwarrantedly touched. But that shouldn't take you 13 years to explain. Because you know what? I've seen girls in the club walk to the club and guys grab their butt and they don't say nothing. Oh yeah, whatever, blah blah blah. Or they'll confront the boy right there. Don't touch me no more. Don't you better not don't put your hands on me no more. You know what I'm saying? So I've seen it both ways, man. So I can't imagine something that happened for 4 years and you're gonna take this long to talk about it. That it's nothing more than a money grab and to slander his name.
Well, we talked about a story similar to this that we talked about as well before, but so that's the situation that Tucker's in. He's got his lawyers and they're saying, look, it's impossible to prove because it's been so long, all that. But then remember, Deshaun Watson, right? Again, Deshaun, he just can't get right, right? He did what he did. He came back after a while, played a little bit, didn't play well. Then he messed around, came back, played for a little bit, and then he tore his ACL. The problem with tearing your ACL and the problem with having all this technology is, one, you shouldn't be out there filming yourself dancing. Yeah, no, again, he's just doing a little two-step right there. But one, the conditions of him getting paid from the NFL, $92 million, is him wearing a boot right now while he's going through rehab.
Yeah, but that's you picking at this guy. That's not bad. He ain't
I'm reaching, but again, there's synergy amongst the two stories. That's where I was, right? Yes, so I understand the Tucker story and the Deshaun story. So I'm reaching on this one, but they gonna get this brother for this right here, though.
I don't know. I mean, what did he do wrong? I mean, even if you got a torn ACL, but you can't two-step with your girl and get ready to get in the car. He ain't like he was doing a flip or doing some splits.
But part of his agreement negotiation, part of his rehab, he's supposed to be wearing a boot at all times. And I'm just saying, again, I'm gonna put my legalese hat on. I'm gonna put my Johnny Cochran on. and I don't want to pay $92 million if I don't have to.
Oh, I mean, they'll now NFL lawyers and them will
That's $92
be
million.
sneaky to try to figure out a way. But
Yeah.
I would be like, man, I've been sitting in the car. We was traveling, man. I took my foot was hurting. And I took it off when I got outside.
When your foot
So
fell asleep?
it doesn't tell me I need to wear the boot 24/7 because you can't wear a boot 24/7. You can't sleep with it. So I took it off while I was outside to get let my foot rest.
You
So
know what
they
I'm
can
saying?
reach
And then
all they
I
want.
had to do a little two step. That's how, I had to get my groove on with my girl.
Cleveland, because you made a bad deal, don't take it out on everybody else.
God, dog.
You made the bad decision. You made the bad deal. You made the bad contract deal. You thought this guy was going to be something what he wasn't. Which Cleveland, you have a historic history of doing that, all the way from Tim Couch to Johnny Manziel to Deshaun Watson. You don't have a good history in making these things happen. So don't try to punish somebody because you made your bad deal. You can look for loopholes to get out, but he didn't really do nothing wrong in that video. And if you're going to try to use that against him, I hope the court makes you double, quadruple how much you own, because that's stupid. You guys made a bad deal, period. Live with it, figure it out, get with it. The best thing you could do is cut him,
Yeah.
cut him, figure out a way to readjust this contract at that point. Like, we can give you pennies on the dollar or whatever, however they want to be able to do it, to buy you out right now. And if you want to continue your whole contract, guess what? We're going to delay that contract as long as we can to pay you and figure something else out. Don't sit here and try to bamboozle us and make him out to be the bad guy because he's on a road trip with his girlfriend. I mean, come on, that doesn't make sense.
I bring that story up because of the Tucker similarity, but also because we've seen some crazy things from a legal perspective and rulings within not just these last 2 weeks, but just over a period of time. I wouldn't put it past anyone in the legal system to find a way to not get that man his money because of that.
Oh, he got it for $20 million already.
He did get it for 20. That's probably what he was two-stepping about. He got that 20
he
million.
Good. He good, man. So I'm not that's and if they do that, that's some BS. You know what I mean? That's just BS. And that's just the system that another system we got to crack and break down for them to be able to take away. And if they try to do that, the NFLPA better step in and better do something about it.
We'll see. Again, social impact, brother. Again, we bringing up the stuff that it's not sexy, but it's real. You got to talk about it. So that being said, we're gonna bring this plane in. I'm gonna use that analogy today, but yeah. So in all due respect, I know, God, no, I'm gonna bring this. It's better than my drug dealer one that I use a lot of other times. So I got to come up with better analogies, man. Let's just move
no
on.
more bringing the plane in. We're gonna wrap it on up. That's all.
We gonna wrap it up. Good Lord have mercy. I apologize. Men, take care of yourself. Men, take care of yourself. Right. Go out. Go to the doctor. Go get things looked at if they need to be looked at. If you're feeling a little something different, get yourself looked at. Dwayne Wade was just on his podcast, The Why with Dwayne Wade, and talking about when he was, I think, 40, 41 years old, right? He went into the doctor. I'm going to paraphrase. He said, "Doctor, I want one of them full body scans. Look at everything." Right? He went in there, he said, because he was having low stream when he urinated. So he went in for that. So, help me with that, doc. Let's figure out what's going on with that. And then give me a full body scan. So they took care of the stream issue and the urination issue, but then come to find out that he had a growth on his kidneys. And I didn't know this about Dwayne Wade. I didn't know he had part of one of his kidneys removed because it had a cancerous tumor on it. So moral of the story is, and again, specifically men, because we unfortunately don't, I don't know why. Women definitely take care of themselves and they do it the right way. We can learn something from our women. But men, get them checkups. Everything, head to toe, and not comfortable. I got a box coming.
I'm guilty.
I was gonna say, hey, I got a box coming this week because again, every what is it, 6 months, every year, wasn't it? You gotta poop in the bowl and you gotta send it to them. I got the box coming, I think tomorrow.
Yeah, man. I'm guilty of that. I don't like going to the doctor. I can't stand the doctor, but you're absolutely 100% right. We do need to get ourselves checked out and make sure we're healthy so we can live a long lives for your kids, your grandkids, your wife, your moms, your everybody. You just got to get yourself checked out, regardless of how many times they're gonna prick you and poke you and do all those things. It's very important, especially for men of color, right? We really Even if it's economic. I mean, go to the clinic that you have to go to. If you got insurance, go to use your insurance, but you really do have to get yourself checked out. And I'm a hypocrite because I don't live by a man by my words. Sometimes I avoid the doctor, but I need to do better doing it myself. Absolutely.
You need to take care of yourself, but I'm gonna make sure that you take care of yourself. Because
Got to, man.
we got a lot of things going on, man. So that's the story. That's how we gonna end. We said we were gonna have kind of like a culture type of story to wrap the show. That's a good culture story. That's health focus.
I mean, health is
I don't
always
know.
good.
You know, I'm trying, brother. Help me to help you to help us. This is what we doing.
Absolutely.
Well, then, Alan, take us home, man. It's always on your shoulders to take us home. So go ahead, brother.
Please, everybody, say a prayer for those families, man, for the victims in from Virginia, and then also say a prayer for your family. You know what I mean? For your families, you guys know your immediate family and your extended family as well. But again, as we do in Team No Sleep, please get comfortable having uncomfortable conversations because that's how we learn.
Montel and James, bringing the heat, Team No Sleep, with champions meet. We're on the mic, taking over the game, no time for rest, no scrambling for fame. Talking sports, breaking it down from the court to the field. All around town, we stay up all night, grinding on the mic, bringing news, real stories on the fly. Montel's got the stats, James got the flow, together we're 2